Fourth one is an oil foam. That's like your typical Briggs & Stratton style. You open it up, it's got a foam element. When you clean it, what do you use to clean these? Gasoline. How many people say gasoline? Don't use gasoline. There's two reasons why you don't want to use gasoline and you really don't want to use a solvent tank. First reason is it's dangerous on your health. I mean, it could be explosive and dangerous, that's one. And the biggest reason is when you put gasoline on oil, on foam, it deteriorates the foam. And so fuel on a foam will cause it to deteriorate and will break it down. And it will shorten the life of your foam filter. So don't use gasoline and don't use a solvent tank. The easiest thing and the safest thing is some sort of dishwashing soap. And so Dawn soap, some kind of soap that dissolves oil really well, is all you really need. Hot water and dish soap. Put it on there, squeeze it, run water through it, get the soap back out of it, then dry it. The easiest way to dry it, first of all, squeeze excess, take a paper towel, wrap a paper towel around it, squeeze it. The paper towel will suck the water out of it almost immediately. When you're done, you're going to take some oil, and they tell you just put a few drops of oil in there. I usually put like a half a teaspoon, and then I fold it within itself, and then just keep squeezing it until you disperse the oil. And then what I do is I give it one final squeeze. Any excess oil that's in there will run out, and I usually wipe my hand off, and that's perfect. If you leave too much oil in there, what happens is it tends to settle out, and then you get all this oil caked on the bottom, which looks really nasty. If you don't have enough oil, then the dirt actually will travel right through the foam and go into your engine. And so these are very non-effective if you don't put oil in them. And the dirt will actually pull right through. If you take and cut it away, cut it in half, the dirt will have penetrated the entire surface of this air filter. So it has to be oiled. Be careful with it. When you're using this system, you also want to make sure you look at the rest of it. This particular air cleaner, you look at it, this looks pretty decent. It's not decaying. If I can rub it and pieces of foam come off, throw it away. It's probably been used with gasoline or it's just really old. And gasoline from the engine. But this one, if you look at the canister that it goes in, it sits on the carburetor right here and it's not flat anymore. And even though it had a good air filter in it, the housing that's in it, somebody dropped something on this and bent it. And this was actually, we found a lot of dirt inside the carburetor. It was leaking right around the housing. And so look at what it's in, look at the other pieces, and make sure that they're all there. This piece is important. This keeps the foam from being sucked in there. The air actually travels in the bottom, all the way through the air filter, along the top, and then down to the carburetor. If you find dirt inside the carburetor, find out where it came from. Don't just assume that it's supposed to be there. It should never be dirt in a carburetor. So, advantage of an oil foam, they're cheap. You don't even need a quart of oil. All you need is about a tablespoon, some Dawn soap and some hot water, and then you can clean them. So, pretty cheap. You can put any shape. I've seen them in long shapes, short shapes, whatever shape's left over. They cut a piece of foam. There's my air filter. Disadvantage, they're probably the least effective cleaning filter there is. You find them on low-end, low-quality engines. You won't find them on an expensive lawnmower because they're not very effective. And the oil tends to leak out and they start to look really messy.